Hi, this is an introductory lesson on Google Drive and using it to create documents, to share documents, and to collaborate together, either with your students or other staff members. So I'm logged into my Gmail right now. To get to Google Drive, I just go to the little three dots there and I go to Drive. And just so you know, this is customizable for you. If your drive is down here and you want to pull it up, you just drag it and put it wherever you want it. So there we go. I'm in Google Drive. Google Drive is our ability to use Google Documents of a variety of forms. And if I hit New, you'll see what those are. In general, the most used ones are Google Documents, which is like a Microsoft Word, Google Sheets, which is like Microsoft Excel, and Google Slides, which is like Microsoft PowerPoint. And I say like because it's very similar to, it is not exactly the same as, and if you're a big Microsoft head and you use extremely advanced features, you will say this does not do everything that it does, and that is true. But it is free to us and allows us to collaborate across the district with certain things that we may want to share with multiple people. And by the way, there's a more down here. There's more than that, but these are the most common ones. And so when I hit that plus button, I can make a folder. I can upload files, I can upload complete folders from my desktop, and I can create a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, a Google Slide, and Google Forms we're going to talk about as a completely separate entity on a different video. So if I want to create any of those things, I can just go down here and create a Google document, and now I've got an untitled document up here. Now, I can use this to just make documents just like I do with Microsoft Word. One of the big advantages that you may or may not know is that it saves all the time. In fact, it's almost impossible to lose a Google document because as I'm typing, you can see it says up top, saving all the time. And it's saving again. Saving again. While in Microsoft Office, you probably have lost a document at one time or another. In Google Documents, you really have to try to lose the document. One of the ways is to not title it. So I'm going to go ahead and you see as soon as I put up there to title it, it starts with whatever I typed. Man, I don't want that. I'm just going to call it test document. So now I have this document that's in my drive called test document, and I can put anything that I want to in there. I will show you a couple things on Google Documents that make it great for both collaboration across between staff and students, but as a great tool for students. I've got an IEP student, I can go to Tools, and I can turn on voice typing, and you saw, by the way, on that, it's Control-Shift-S, that's not one that I know, but now if I hit this button and I start to, I have to allow one time, there we go. And I start to speak, it will now type the things that it thinks it hears me saying, and it is pretty darn close, period. It is amazing how well it can pick up what I'm saying and what I'm trying to get typed. So for those students that have a hard time typing, there is almost no excuse on getting things down initially for them to write. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. One of the great tools. Now, it's going to be up there until I exit out. If I use this for something like this for a student or just to start something I want to type myself, I am going to have to go back through it and do some editing. It's not perfect. It doesn't put periods and it doesn't put spaces exactly where I want it, but you saw I typed exactly what I said. So that's one of the cool things that I wanted to point out if you did not know that is there. Now, as I do this, I have the normal tools that are on, that is very similar to the Moodle text toolbar. And if there aren't tools up here, I can go and I can look and drop down, hey, there's what I can do in edit, what I can do with view, things I can insert, ways I can format, and other tools that I have while I'm writing with this. Again, it's kind of basic. It's not everything that I can do in a Microsoft document, but it is 90% of what I want any student to do in a paper, and it's probably 90% or more of what you need to do whenever you're writing something. So that's Google Docs, and that's what a Google document looks like. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time going into each of these because most of you know how to format a document and how to type. The things that are different up here are the ability to, first of all, move it and share it and star it. These are some things that are different. So let's talk about that. Starred, that means it's an important document for me. And if I go over here and I go to starred, these are the things that are starred in my Google Drive, things that I'm looking for, that I'm working on. Recent shows you things that I just recently have been working on. Starred shows you those things that I've starred that says, hey, I'm going to use this all the time. So I have that starred. For instance, I've got folders starred that have all the students' passwords in them so that when somebody calls and says, I lost my password, I know how to find it because it's starred. I'm going to go back to my starred right there and come back over to this document. So that's what starring is. It's like mark it as important. This move button allows me to organize it inside my drive. So I can make folders, that's what this little plus is here. I can make a new folder, or I can say, hey, this is going to go into my folder on professional development. So I'm going to put it in that PD folder. Now you see an arrow over here. That means there's more folders under that. And under the PD folder, I've got a whole bunch of other folders that I can put things in. I'll just say I'm going to move that here. And now this is in that folder, so you can organize things in your Google Drive. This button just says see document status. If I do that, it says it's not ready for offline use. In other words, I have to be online to use this. The last thing I really want to show you is the ability to share. And sharing is a big, huge blue button over here because that's one of the main reasons we use Google Docs is to collaborate and share them with other people. So if I hit the share button, it comes up and says, who do you want to share this document with? And so I can first just type somebody. If I want to share it with Cindy Hoke, I just type, I don't know, Shoke. There we go. There's Cindy Hoke. If I want to share it with her, I can, and it automatically says she's an editor, but I have other options. I can make it so the other people can only view it, or only comment on it, or edit. Those are my only three options on that. I can choose not to notify anyone. In other words, if I do that, if I made Cindy an editor on this, but I didn't notify her, then it would show up over here in shared with me. These are documents that other people shared with me, but she's not going to know it's there unless I do notify her that it's there. The other thing you can see here is copy link. If I copy that link, now this is the shared link to this document that I could put in an email or somewhere else in there as well. I'm going to continue on with sharing because there's a lot more than that. If I go to settings, it says editors can change permissions. Maybe I want them to edit it, but not be able to share it with anybody else. And it says viewers and commentators can see the download, print, and copy. If I undo that, it means you can look at this document, but you can't copy it. You can't download it. You can't print it out. I have that set on, for instance, the password file. I don't want someone to go, oh, I'm just going to print this out and put it on my wall so all my students know the passwords, which you'd say no one would ever do, but they have. So that's some of the settings that I can do on that particular spot. I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit back again. And now I'm back at the original sharing page. Right now, it says only people with access can open the link. I have other options there. I can say anyone with the link can open it. Now I can send it to people outside of National Trail. If I leave it set where it was, restricted, that means only people that I share it with can see it. If I put it here in National Charter of Local Schools, it says anyone in this group with the link can view it. And then I've got the anyone with the link can do whatever I want. See how it says viewer? I can say anybody with the link can edit. I probably don't want to do that very often. Or anybody with the link can comment on this file. The default again is viewer. So if I'm sending something out, I want to make sure those people can see it. So if I'm going to use this document and share it out with a link to all my parents, if I left it as National Charter of Local Schools, none of them are going to see it. If I left it as restricted, only people with access can see it, no one's going to be able to see it because I didn't give them access when I copied the link. So if I'm trying to share a document with all the parents, I have to make sure I go here and say anyone with a link can view it. And now I can copy that link, and if I send that out in an email, now everyone who follows this link will be able to view the document that I just sent them. And that's a gotcha. Every once in a while, people will share something, but not change who has access to it, and then they're not really sharing it to anyone. I'm going to go back and do this whole thing again to go over this. So I hit share. I'm at this one initially, and right now its default is set restricted. I set it to anyone with a link can view, and I always do that because why am I sharing it, right? Or I can add specific people. I can add groups too. So I could say NTHS staff can all edit this if I'm trying to add it, send it out to everybody on our staff, or NTMS, NTES, you get the idea, or do just specific people. So that's sharing. You need to pay attention to who you want to view, comment, or edit. If you're sending it out and notifying people, probably a good idea to have a message of what it's for. And if I'm trying to send it out as a link in an email, I got to make sure that I've given somebody permission to actually view that, and that's where I get this right here. Anyone with a link, and you know I just showed you how to change that. The sharing is the same for every kind of document. The button's the same, the access is the same, the ability to give it to individuals, groups, or make it a link, all the same no matter what kind of document we're talking about. So let's go back to Google Drive and look at the other kinds of documents. Google Docs is fairly straightforward and fairly simple to do editing and setup. If I go new and say a Google Sheet, it looks just like a spreadsheet. And I can add down here, it always starts as opposed to Excel with which starts with multiple sheets. It starts with one sheet. I can add more sheets there. I can rename these sheets to whatever I want to. I can color code these sheets. You can see all it does is change the underline color. I can obviously name the sheet. I can highlight or star the sheet. I can share the sheet. It's all the exact same kind of settings. And the rules for formulas and stuff are very similar, if not the same, between Google Sheets and a Microsoft sheet or a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I can also copy, I can upload those spreadsheets and use them right here. And I can set who's got permission to see what things inside a Google Sheet, just like I do with a Microsoft Excel sheet. So it's basically the same, and same thing with slides. If I open up slides, it's just like a PowerPoint presentation. I can change what kind of theme I want to use. I can add multiple things down on the left-hand side, and I can make a presentation just like I do with a Microsoft PowerPoint. Again, the advantages of these is students don't have to have them on their computer at home. You can get it and edit it from virtually any internet-ready device, any phone, tablet, laptop. As long as it's on the internet, you can get to it. And the ability to share and collaborate with projects is really, really, really simple. Now, that's the basics. I want to talk about some teacher things while I'm here that frequently come up within staff members. I want students to use this as a template, but I don't want them to edit mine. So if this was a template that I wanted to do, uh, I don't know, just going to say that's the template. That I want all my students to start with, but not be able to edit mine. There's a couple tricks here, and I'm going to show you one of those. I can go and say share, and right now I've got anyone with the link as the editor, and I'm going to go and hit copy that link. Now I'm going to open up a editing piece of software. Right now I'm just going to use Notepad to show you what I'm doing, and I'm going to hit paste. Right now it says the whole document, and the end it says edit question mark. I'm going to change that to copy question mark. I'm going to show you what happens when I put that in to my address bar. When I put that in my address bar, it comes up and says, hey, would you like to make a copy of this? It's not letting me open it. And if I say make a copy, what it does is it opens up a copy in my file of that document. If you want to share something for somebody to use and not touch or edit yours, that is the answer. Again, all I did was copy that link, go on any editing software. You could have done this in Word, whatever. And where that whole thing is, where it turns into edit question mark, blah, 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 you just change that word to copy question mark. And whoop, copy question mark. Where's the question mark? There we go. And now I can send that link out or put it in a Moodle or give it to anybody any way I want to. And when they follow that, they are in effect taking the document that I've made in Google Docs and putting their own copy in their own Google Docs as a starting point, and they're not touching mine at all. They're just taking mine to start out theirs, which is a great way for you to give a student a template for something that you want them to work on. You can do the exact same thing with the Google Slides, Google Sheets, any share. You just change the edit to copy question mark, and now when they click the link, it's saying, do you want to make a copy of this in your Google Drive? And it's not touching yours at all. That's a little trick that I have used quite a few times, and it's very helpful if you've got something you want someone else to use yours as a starting point and go on with theirs. So that's Google Drive. That's the basics of creating and sharing documents between multiple people. And this is intended as a starting point. If anybody has any questions, all you have to do is come to me, give me a call, and I'll answer that more specific question for you as well. Thanks.